This is Lansdowne Roll, the voice of the fans, and this is the League of Ireland review, match day 13 and 14. David Dunn here, joined by Conor McAvoy. And of course, before we get started, don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Just hit the like button as well, because it really does help the algorithm, so do it now. Also, head over to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and if you wouldn't mind, head over to lansdownemore.ie. That is lansdownemore.ie for all the latest opinions and all that happy, good stuff. And if you want an audio version of this podcast as well, Conor, how are you? Another exciting weekend of League of Ireland.
Yeah, it is. It's edging closer. It's what we want. We want League of Ireland football on as often as possible because it gets us excited, gets our off our feet, and I'm actually really looking forward to it again. It's as we thought the title race at this stage of the year might have started to, I don't know what you'd say, heat up, or would have been like you'd have defined teams in the race, but we still have at least 7 teams probably at this stage of the season are saying we could win a title here. So I'm looking forward to the Friday's action.
Yeah, no, it's still. I mean, it was a 7-horse race. Kind of is. Just by proximity where the teams are, just looking at the table. But of course, we had match day 13 and 14 the Friday night, and of course the Thursday night subsequently. So we're just going to go through quickly the results of match day 13. It's going to look a bit naff because for whatever reason, there was no official graphic done for the results, which I normally acquire for the podcast. But here we go. Bear with us anyway. So here is Friday night's, the 2nd of May. Pats, even though they had 10 men, 2-0 winners over Galway United. Bohs finally lose. 2-1 at home to Waterford. Derry City beating Shelburne 2-0 at the Brandywell. Sligo Rovers still bottom, 2-0 draw with Drogheda United. A bit of a surprise that. And of course, Cork City 1-0 draw at home to Shamrock Rovers. We're going to move forward then to the 14th. Here, this is the bank holiday Monday. Galway United 2-1. Losing 2-1 there to Bohs. Drogheda United 3-2 winners over Cork City at home. Shelburne losing 1-0 at home to Waterford. We're going to talk about them. Shamrock Rovers, of course, 2-0 winners over Sligo. And Derry City 1-0 winners over St. Pat's. So, cat among the pitch. You just start the first one there. Bohs coming. Another comeback there for Bohs, eh?
Yeah, it is. Especially after, because Bohs have kind of been so hit and miss, and like they're kind of like consistently going to a good run or consistently going to a bad run. As we've seen, they were in a bad run, then they went into a good run, and then you've seen the loss again. So you're like, oh, maybe they'll start losing games again. But then they went to arguably one of the toughest away grounds in the country at the moment, and went to DC Park and came back and won 2-1. Sean Grehan scoring 2 goals again from centre half, and then the last. With the winner being in the 90th minute, wasn't it? And
97th minute.
Yeah, 97 minutes. So it's crazy what Bohs are doing. They're a very enjoyable team to watch this year. They're not just drama in terms of goal scoring moments. They've some very good footballers on their side, and they play nice football. So it's probably a just reward for what they've kind of been producing on the pitch. But when you get moments like that, I know it can't last forever. Getting these things as it seems to be now christened Rennie time after. He's now the Alex Ferguson of the League of Ireland with these last-minute winners. But it's good to see. Bit of drama, isn't it?
It's mad. 1-7, lost 7. That's Bohs. Now, we're not going to reveal the place on the table just yet, but they've won 7, lost 7 out of the last 5. They have won 4, lost 1. Just crazy. And another comeback as well. I thought we were going to do it the other night on Friday, but, and you accused me, Conor, of saying that, I predicted that he'd come back, and you've already seen the result.
No, you said you're like, oh, Bohs are going to come back here when it was already 1-1. And I was like,
no, it was.
What's going on here with this man?
It wasn't when I saw it. I was where was I? I think I was on the tube, and I was looking at the results. Said no. Cheeky.
By the time you'd sent it, it was already 1-1. Whenever you looked, it must have been 1-0. But by every time the message had come through, it was already 1-1. You can't catch me out. You're not that smart, Sonny.
I am. I really am. Drogheda United 3-2 in its course over Cork City. Bit of a wobble, bit of a surprise, really, drawing 2-2 with Sligo, of course, propping up the table. But Drogheda again, a little bit of a setback, but they've just bounced right back into it. Uh, they, I mean, bit of a tit for tat, really, with Cork City, of course, going behind 1-0 down, and then, of course, going 2-1 to be pegged back 2-all, and then, of course, a late winner by young Brennan in the 92nd, the 96th minute there. So
Young,
Drogheda,
he's not that young. Ryan Brennan's not that young.
well, he is compared to me.
He's
uh,
33. So what? He's only
yeah.
27 years younger.
Oh, that is just such a low blow. Maybe if Martin was on. But yeah, 96-minute winner, Drogheda United. Bit of a wobble, but you know what? They're right back
Yeah.
back at it.
They're back where they belong, as one would say. On top of their perch, where we all want them to be. No, but that's a great result, in fairness, for Drogheda. Cork, I know Cork haven't really um been on fire. Well, they did get a very good draw at home to Shamrock Rovers on Friday night, but you'd wonder, like, long term with Cork, what way it'll be, because with injuries, because Keating Maguire is not back yet, and then Daniels, obviously the new striker they brought back in. Scott bagged himself a double at Drogheda on Monday night, and I know they went on to lose the game, but it's probably a game that you think, from a core point of view, obviously the net made negative is losing the game, but they probably will think we should stay up with this quality of players we have in our squad, and obviously with players to come back, Cork should be excited, and then Drogheda are just doing what Drogheda do. Um they're very solid defensively, and they're scoring going forward. The only worry maybe is, you could say, Dave, is that they've conceded 4 goals over the last 2 games, which is kind of something that never really happens with this Drogheda side. And probably if they keep leaking goals at this rate over the next couple of weeks, we'll probably see them lose a couple of games. But they seem to outscore their opponent every week, at least.
Yeah, just looking here, the last 5. I mean, a bit. I mean, if you look at all the teams fighting for the title at the moment, last 5, they've drawn 3, lost 1, won 1. So a bit of bit of instability there, actually, with Drogheda.
Yeah.
But they're just getting it done. They're still getting it done. Next game, of course, we're going to talk about Shelburne, the defending champions, not in this form, losing 1-0 at home to Waterford. An early goal there by young Hammond. I suppose you're going to tell me, like, he's 50, are you?
Well, he is. Patrick Hammond isn't very young now.
Well, no, but yet again, compared to me, 3rd minute winner, really, just looking at the stats here. Shels, all the possession, more shots on target. It's 27 shots and 2-11 to Waterford, and he still couldn't break it down. Just looking here at Shels, really struggling. They haven't won in the last 5. They've drawn 3, lost the last 2. Conor, it's Shelburne out of the title picture already.
If you looked at the league table and you just looked at league position, you'd be like, "There's no way this team's in a title race." But I'm sorry to tell you, if you hate Shels, they're still in a bloody title race. But it is a worry, a big worry. You can tell by Duff's mannerisms on the sideline and the way he's speaking in the media. He is a bit worried. I don't know whether he's worried about what's going on or he's just very frustrated, because this, you wouldn't expect this from this Shels team. I know they're missing players with injury. Paddy Barrett's out, Lewis Temple's out. Their defense is a bit of is kind of jumbling up pieces together to try and see what works at the moment. But no, it's fair. You must be, if you're a Shels fan, you'd be bitterly just frustrated at the moment, because a defending champ, you'd expect to probably grind results out at least. And they went to the Brandywell on Friday night, struggled up there, got beat comfortably in the end. And then Monday night against Shels, I know stats wise they battered Shels in terms of shots and stuff, but once Waterford, they battered Waterford stats wise, but once Waterford 1-0 up, the game is going to be played out like that way anyway, because when you get an early goal through young 37-year-old Padraig Hammond, you're going to probably play with your backs to the wall to the rest of the game. And I think Duff probably has a lot of figuring out to do still, but I'm sure it will eventually pick up again, especially when men start to come back fit and the transfer window probably is about to what opens in less than a month. I think I'm not 100% certain in terms of League of Ireland transfer window, but I imagine it's still the same in terms of summer. I know the winter is slightly different, but I could imagine it's still June as well. So I'd say Shels would be looking to recruit heavily in the summer.
Yeah, they're gonna need it. What did you make of? Yeah, some of the lads were saying they were watching him, and he really does seem to be like he's screaming at the wingers. He's really sort of losing his patience. Now I know he's a very intense manager anyway, but it does seem like the pressure is getting to him a little bit. What did you make of his comments? Obviously, Stephen Bradley mentioned in his notes about Duff saying that when we played, like he didn't shake my hands, and I thought that was poor, and paraphrasing it a little bit, there's a picture of him there, was saying, I thought that was poor, and he kind of had a word with his back room staff. And then Duff responded, obviously, afterwards. He said, well, since Stephen Bradley's gone to the door, I think he thinks he has a comment about everything, but he felt personally attacked by Bradley. He said by some of his comments that he was attacking him. That it sounds like a man. Now I know Duff's a bit of a yeah, okay, he's a rent quote. I'll say it. Probably going to get destroyed by Shels fans, but he is a rent quote. He takes the pressure off his players. That's his style. He takes it all to heart. Looks at keeps the players, protects his players, but his players are letting him down, and he's starting. It sounds like to me he's starting to come apart a little bit.
I don't know. It's hard to know because, like, the game that we're referring to that started all this, I don't know what you say, controversy or anger or bitterness between the two. You would come away from that game with the 2-2 at Tallaght thinking Damien Duff probably would be the happier two going into that game, because going away to Shamrock Rovers, getting a 2-2 draw is a very good result. Yeah, Duff probably was more annoyed the fact that they were 2-1 up and then they end up conceding and they go put them 2-2, but it's still not a bad result away to Shamrock Rovers. And listen, we spoke about this actually at the podcast after the game, and it's ridiculous from Duff not to shake his hand. I don't know what that's about, but I also find it stupid that Bradley put it in his match day notes. It's like he's trying to prove a point, putting that in when I don't know, or Rovers were playing Sligo the other night, and it's a bit strange putting that in your notes. Surely you just come out in the media or come out in a press conference and probably address it there more likely than put into trying to hide it away and subtly probably dig at Duff. But in the modern times, you can't subtly do that. But yeah, it seems that Duff has kind of, I don't know whether he's lost a rag or whether he's just, because you can tell he's a very emotional person. And when it comes out, he's not good at hiding it, I would say. And then I think probably things are probably getting a bit on top of him at the moment, and he's trying to just, especially when he's probably so emotional in terms of how am I going to fix what's going on at Shels at the moment. He's probably thinking, look at the league this season, no one can be consistent. You're probably thinking we should be at least somewhat consistent. We'd be running away with this league title, but we've been dreadful and we're not improving. And then when people mix in the Bradley comments about it on top, it probably heightens it even further. But no, because the reality is the two men both want the best for Irish football. They both are so passionate about the league. They both love their club. They both are very, very good managers. And I think it's just they're so similar that it almost clashed. I'd imagine if they both weren't managing rival League of Ireland clubs, they'd probably get on very well. But the fact is, it's two men striving for one thing, and they're both as competitive as each other. And it's a clash of personalities.
Yeah, no, big time. And that takes us in nicely into, of course, the next game with Shamrock Rovers. 2-0 winners over Sligo Rovers. Battle of the Rovers. But yeah, all wrapped up by half time. 2-0 winners there. Rovers just, in their last 5, they've also been a bit ropey. That's their first win in 5. Sorry, they've had 1 win in the last 5. They've drawn 3. And of course, they've lost 1. They had a bit of a wobble at the start, but they're going nicely. They're going well.
Thing is, they're not actually going that nicely, Dave. In the grand scheme of things, they're not going that. One win in 5 for Shamrock Rovers is not great at all.
No, but they're in the middle. I'm looking at the. Yes, you are right.
Yeah. In terms of if you look at if you say what their trend chart of wins over the last, you'd be like, That's not great at all. It's very hit and miss. But then you look at the league table and you're thinking, oh well, you're still right in the title mix.
Do you know who this
You've
form team are? Do you know who the form team are in the League
it
of
is
Ireland?
it's Derry, isn't it? It's
No,
Derry. It's
no.
Derry. They've won
Well,
4 of the last 5, they're not.
yeah,
Or
but Waterford have won their last. But don't give it away about Derry. No, Waterford have won their last 3 in a row.
no, so yeah,
Derry
with
won.
interim. But their interim manager Matt Lawler's gone now, which is mad with John Coleman coming in. So maybe that could affect things. But
Yeah, like this
yeah,
is how crazy that like we'll get to League of Ireland and like we'll get to league table after the next game. But
yeah,
yeah, no, you are right. I mean, Shamrock Rovers. It'll make sense when you see the league table. You know they're in a good position, but yeah,
yeah,
you are right. It's just this is
yeah,
mad. It's a mad
yeah.
league.
But I think
Ah,
Sligo, or sorry, Sligo, Shamrock Rovers will probably look at these next 3 games, or next 2 games anyway, as the chance to pick up another 6 points. To play Drogheda at home tomorrow, which is, I know Drogheda are a very good side at the moment, I think, but at Tala, the way they play football at Tala, you'd expect them probably to pick up the 3 points, and then they've
mm,
Waterford away the week after, which obviously Waterford are the form team, as you say, but it still is Waterford who are in a relegation battle as
I
such.
mean,
But no, I watched the first half of this Shamrock Rovers Sligo game the other night, and before I put on the televised game, and no, Shamrock Rovers are very impressive. They played some lovely football as always. Graham Burke and um, Jack Byrne and Aaron Green linking up brilliantly. Matt Healy controlling things, and
look at
yeah,
me getting a text.
yeah, but no, but like, because the reality is, I've sure you've seen over the last couple of days, and the Stevens could be on his way to Shamrock Rovers after leaving Stoke City. I know there's competition from Bohs and St. Pat's, but from my educated guess, and my educated guess on this sort of thing would be that it's extremely likely with his agent's connections that he'll be going to Shamrock Rovers. And I know Ennis Stevens, what is 33, 34, he'd probably, and with the system they play with probably a back five as that left centre back or left wing back, I think he'd fit in very well. Probably left centre back, I think he'd probably be absolutely brilliant for them, Dave. I'm sure you'd agree. And because he could probably still play at the championship. I know he's left Stoke, but he was actually quite good for them when he played. He just was picking up quite a few knocks. So no, I think he'll be a brilliant sign for Shamrock Rovers if he goes there, and it would be a good coup for the League of Ireland to have a player like that coming back. And it would just strengthen a team like Shamrock Rovers even further. Probably getting a lad like that in for free. I know his wages would be decent, but it's still a free transfer.
I'd imagine if he's come back to League of Ireland, like I imagine he's doing. I'm not trying to make it League of Ireland as a charity case. But I don't know if he's going to come back in there and walk it. Because not just because of his age, like he's
It's
quite
a tough
injury
league.
prone,
Yeah. No, I don't mean it.
very injury
I
prone.
just think he'll be very. I just think he'll be in terms of the left centre half role. It'll just would remove any sort of doubt because, as I've always said from watching all the Shamrock Rovers in Europe and last season, that I think there's a big issue they have at centre half in terms of ball playing centre halves. And one thing Ennis Stevens has is composure on the ball, and he's superb on the ball, and he's a leader. He's played for Ireland quite a few times. Played in the Premier League, has scored in the Premier League. I know we've seen like Greg Cunningham has come back and playing with Galway, and even though probably at this stage of their career there's probably not much between the two, but Ennis Stevens had, he'd say, a considerably better career. He played for Ireland, he played in the Premier League. But no, I just think if Ennis Stevens went back to the team, Damon probably played in a back four. I probably would think maybe he mightn't, because he mightn't have the legs to get up and down as a fullback, in the way the League of Ireland is such a frantic pace. But I think as a left centre half at Shamrock Rovers, I think he would fit in brilliant. Maybe he might end up playing wing back. Maybe it could be wrong. Maybe Josh Honahan could go in the summer, like, and he could be a direct replacement as such. But no, I think he could be whoever he goes to. I think he will probably come back to the League of Ireland at his age, and I think he would be a great addition. And I think Shamrock Rovers will probably win that race.
Okay, and of course, the final match of the week, or of the day, I should say, was Pats, of course, and Derry City. Derry City winning 1-0 at the Brandywell. Danny Mullins with a lovely, well worked goal. Actually, it was lovely, lovely move on the 48th minute, and that is putting Pats. Well, that's a massive dent in their title hopes there. But Derry City, another team, you know, well, you said they're the form team, but they've won 4 out of their last 5. But they're going well, and Derry right back in there. They were kind of bit of a poor start to the season, but they've come on really well, and that is a major coup there against St. Pat's. They'll be absolutely furious. I mean, Pats as well. Their last 5, they've drawn 2, lost 2, won 1, so they're not even in good form either, are they? Pats. It's.
No.
But yet again, if you look at the league table, they're not in terrible
Yeah.
position either,
Yeah.
Pats.
No, you're like that dent's a major dent to their title form or their title hopes, and it's like
No.
one win, and the teams above them lose, and they're top of the table. So but it is. I watched that game on Monday evening, and Pats I thought were quite poor, and I seen Pats fans were very frustrated and I hate that kip the Brandy. Well, we might as well go up there and be on -6 points at the start of the year because we never went up there. But in fairness, Derry were very good. I thought the classier players they have it that they've brought back and spent big money on are starting to. You can see Dave, they're starting to shine through, and I know they're playing on Astro and a lot of teams it's hard for to adjust, but it is an advantage for Derry really when you think of it because they're used to playing on it. Adam O'Reilly was absolutely everywhere the other day. I thought he was probably by far the best player on the pitch, and Pat struggled with his probably you'd say his intensity and his work rate in the middle of the park, and I think Kevin Holt that they brought in from Dundee United is starting to shine as a huge coup that they brought in, and I think Stephen Kenny's probably a bit worried about how Pats are going at the moment because like this is not the way we expected Pats probably to go. We probably expected them to win the league this season and probably do it in this way that they were winning most weeks, and they're not. The thing is, they're not really winning most weeks. Like I know the big goal with their day, but then they lost to Bohs in dramatic fashion, and drew it draw the week before, and drew it Shamrock Rovers at home, and like and like they're not on the greatest run of form, but with the talent they have in their squad and the fact Aidan Keane is getting back to full fitness now, and whenever probably Europe kicks in, they have a lot of depth in their squad, so that you think maybe they might start to push on more then, but. It is probably a bit of a worry for Stephen Kenny at the moment because there's so much talent in that squad and it's just not clicking just quite yet. After what last season was like, Dave, do you remember the last 10 games in a row? Was it the one all the summer club
Yeah.
record of winning the last 10 games in a row? And it just hasn't been like that so far this season.
No, it hasn't clicked. It's the 4th loss of the season. Let's have a look at the league table. This is what we mean when we say it's a bit mad. So, of course, Drogheda United top with 24 points. Shamrock Rovers second with 23. Derry City third with 23. Pats fourth with 22 points. I mean, there we go. Like, they're only 2 points off. Bohs, 21 points. Only 3 points off the top. They're in 5th. Galway United, 6th on 20 points. Shelbourne, the champions, 5 points adrift of the top. They're in 7th on 19 points. Waterford, they're in it. They're only 6 points off the top. They're in 8th, and they're on 18 points. And of course, Cork City in 9th on 12 points. And Sligo Rovers still sort of keeping interest, but you'd imagine, between 10th and 8th seems to be insurmountable at the moment. But there you have. I mean, it's mad, isn't it, when you see that there. Drogheda is still at the top there, Conor, but it's an 8. Would you go as far to say it's an 8-horse race, or would you just keep it with 7 because Shelbourne, are defending champions?
Dave, I don't know. I would realistically. My head says 7-horse race, but then my head says don't be so stupid. It's probably a 10-horse race, but no, it's either a 7 or 8-horse race, really, isn't it? Because
probably 7.
Yeah, you wouldn't say Waterford are in the title race, but they are. Thing is, they're not in the title race, but they are. Do you know what I mean? They're not in the title race, but they are. So I don't know. Like, if you were going to predict any of them teams, if you were going to put your house on any of them teams, definitely won't win the league. You'd say Waterford, but you can't rule them out of the league just yet. So especially with as you said, they're the form team in the league, and they have a home game this week to make them even more informed. So we just never know.
Yep. We'll get to the fixture in a second. Actually, before we get to that, bit of news. You want to tell us here about Cathal O'Sullivan?
Yeah. Huge news coming from the Irish Independent today about Cathal O'Sullivan going to visit Crystal Palace this weekend. Dave, I remember we spoke about this rumor a couple of weeks ago, and then I remember I said about the text I got about it, and I wasn't too sure on it, and it's end up being coming to fruition that he's heading to them at the weekend, and I believe he's going to. I think they're playing Spurs, I believe it is, and he's going to be in attendance at that. So it seems like they're rolling out the red carpet from Nottingham Forest. Interestedly, are very interested. Well, Andy Reid is like a head scout with the moment and is heavily involved in the club. And he was in Turner's Cross at the Shamrock Rovers game when they drew 1-1 last Friday. So I wouldn't say it's definitely done for Palace as of yet, but they seem to be winning the race. But it seems that Nottingham Forest definitely aren't giving up, and I don't think they're the only probably huge Premier League clubs that would be interested in Cathal. And it is an interesting topic, Dave, because you don't know because I know he's out of contract at the end of this season when he turns 18, but Cork want to sell him before that to get more than just your, I think it's like 300k compensation. So you'd hope they'll get over $1 million from him anyway, because I know he's always run out of contract, but there's just so much interest in him that someone would play, like an Italian club you could imagine would probably come in and offer 2 million for him just to try and secure him. But I think it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks ahead for him, and he's such a talent, and he's adapted so well to the Premier Division. Probably Cork fans would be begging that he gets sold in the summer for money and then they get him back on loan till the end of the season. But probably these clubs are thinking that we'll probably want to get him in for the summer and get him in pre-season with whoever's first team there is, because that would be a huge selling point, wouldn't it, Dave? That you could instantly get him in and be like, you're going to be instantly part of this first team setup by coming into a pre-season with us, and then whatever way. But you'd imagine if he's going to a Palace or he's going to a Forest, he'd be loaned out or something, because he's too good for under 21 football at this stage.
Yeah, and also the fact that he's well into the season, isn't he, as well? So be going into a pre-season match fit, sharp. So, not best of luck to him, young man, and I can call him a young man. Wherever he goes,
we don't have to wish him best luck yet, because it's not like he's going on trial. He's getting treated like royalty, getting to go to Selhurst Park at the weekend. And
well, wherever he goes, if I bump into him now around the South London area, no, I mean, like, wherever he goes, best luck to him. And he's going to sign for somebody. Hopefully not an Italian club, though. For the love of God,
I don't think that's a possibility anymore. It seems like the Premier League clubs are where he wants to go and where he will go.
Absolutely, fair play to him. We're going to have a look at the fixtures, and then we're going to get out of here. So coming up, obviously Friday tonight, Cork City at home to Derry City. That is on League of Ireland TV. The big game on Virgin Media 2 in the Republic of Ireland is Shamrock Rovers. They host Drogheda United, top of the table clash. Shelburne are at home to Pats as well. You can catch that on League of Ireland TV. Waterford, they host Galway United. Can they make it? 4 wins on the bounce and, put together a little title charge over Galway United. And then, of course, the game on Saturday will be Sligo Rovers, who are propping up the table still, and they're hosting Bohs. Will Bohs win comfortably, or will they leave it to the last minute?
Or will they lose?
Or will he lose? You wouldn't know with Bohs at the moment. Will he make it 8 wins and 7 losses, or will it be 8 losses and 7 wins? Who knows? Anyway, we are going to leave it there. We are live on Monday. Conor will be live with Martin. So don't... 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, Conor?
I don't know. Whenever when Martin decides. Martin's the dictator of this channel these days. He's...
maybe it was just you and him on, son. Yes, so 10 o'clock. Keep an eye out on our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter for those. And head over to lansandroar.e for the latest opinion. You're going to have loads of match reports, especially with the League of Ireland and previews, that sort of stuff. But we will be back live on Monday, of course. Apologies for the lateness with this review. Real life getting in the way, unfortunately. And yes, and of course, don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are trying to grow. We've got loads of stuff coming at you this summer. Loads of content. So do stay tuned for that. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. I'm David Dunn. He is Conor McAvoy. This is the League of Ireland Review. Come on, you boys in green.